And really what we wanted to do with this particular platform is find a way to harness the spirit, the passion, as well as entrepreneurship amongst many existing as well as emerging entrepreneurs. Surely you've had days as entrepreneurs when you haven't been sure of what you're doing or what the idea is, right? Surely you've had days when you've wanted to reach out to someone. Many of you are not necessarily in partnerships. So many days you've wanted to be motivated. Many days there's also been failures, fantastic failures. So we created really a place, a series of events on the backbone of the hubs that exist online, where you as an entrepreneur can go and pick up all of those things, whether it's education, whether it's networking, sharing, as well as influencing each other as entrepreneurs. Not with anyone else's involvement, just the entrepreneurial community. How do you take all this fantastic information and new knowledge that you've gotten today and turn that into real finance opportunities for your business? Many times we see this funding being flipped at us and we're told, come and get it. But more often than not enough people are telling us about the journey to get to this funding. That there's processes, there's systems that we need to have implemented, and so much that goes into the back of that. So this panel is here to take you on the journey as opposed to promise you the funding at the end of it.
You can't call yourself a business person when you are a beneficiary. Okay? You can't call yourself a business person when you're not in charge of your destiny. Irrespective of how much money you make, you can't call yourself a business person when there's still an expectation that government owes you something. I honestly believe that people who should call themselves business people are people who have invested enough time and effort in mastering a trade or a skill that, irrespective of who is in charge of government, or irrespective of what your partner can or cannot do or does against you, that irrespective of how untransformed corporate South Africa remains, that you will survive. That a proactive and progressive government that is supportive of creating an enabling environment for business people will ensure or will help you thrive, but should never ever make your business. Put differently, I'm a proud beneficiary of the BE policy of South Africa. I'm a proud product of a post-94 progressive South Africa. I really am. I am so because this policy ensures access, but it can't be and it should not be your business proposition. We are the future, we are the market. Let us master the skill, master the consumer, master our politics. You can't also run a business in a country and environment that you don't know where it's going, or at least where it's likely to go. So you can't be a great business person if you don't know what's happening in South Africa politically, economically, socially, etc. Okay, you can't.
Call myself a serial entrepreneur. I have started and sold a few, and I have also started and had to file for bankruptcy for one in the United States. I am now currently a partner, a director at Monitor Deloitte. We are in fact a global consulting firm. The Monitor Group previously was a firm funded out of Harvard University with Michael Porter and was around the world as a strategy consulting firm. And last year we were purchased by Deloitte Consulting globally worldwide. I feel myself very privileged and honored to be here amongst all of you because one of the businesses that I actually started that was successful was in fact a microfinance institution in Congo, Kinshasa, several years ago, whereby I was privileged to have an opportunity to support small, medium enterprises by providing them with micro-lending and the requisite business capacity building exercises that would help them be successful. So I'm very glad to be here, and again, Deloitte is very proud to be able to sponsor this event. But entrepreneurs are serially the same in a certain manner. What you'll find is that there are people that, as Given has mentioned, who find an opportunity and go and seek it. They're able to create a sense of urgency, and in doing so, in creating that sense of urgency, are able to turn something that someone else would see as, I wish I could do, to actually being able to do themselves.
Banks are not bad. They're not bad people. It's just that you need to know how they work. And what is it you can get from them, and what is it that you'll just never get from them, no matter how many times you knock on the door. So let's have an honest conversation. Banks, by their very nature, take deposits. So they take people's monies, yours and mine, deposit our salaries in there, and in return they run an institution where they go and lend that money to all sorts of places. Build bridges, entrepreneurs like you, big corporates mainly. So they have a requirement to protect that capital because essentially it's not really their money. What they're doing is they're turning other people's deposits into bigger returns. Yes? Still on the same page? Yes. So when they lend that money, they lend that money to the most secure projects ever. Because they need to get that money ready when Andile goes to his ATM, pumps in 1,000 rand, the 1,000 rand must come out because it is money. The bank can't say, hey, Mamela, he's still busy building power, man. 10 years from now, so 1,000 years. This is fine, are we still on the same page? So when you go to the bank to borrow money, the first question any banker will ask you is about security or collateral. In other words, should the brown stuff hit the fan, how are we going to get our money? Now I know you don't really want to hear that, because I don't like to hear it either. Particularly when we started out. We're all frustrated with banks, you and I. How could they lend that, not lend us? I mean, the story you talked about how the corporate banks never funded us for power. This is after we had built Capricorn. This is when Capricorn, 3 years into its life, had broken even, 1.5 million listeners, 4th largest radio station in the country. How could we not lend those people to open another radio station, right? So we actually had credibility. They still wouldn't lend us money. You know what? Because Mkhari and Khumalo don't have the capital to tell the bank that, hey, here are some assets you can take.
Well, you had lost the money elsewhere as well.
We had lost all the money anyway, but another thing, so that's not pretty well for credibility. Point I'm making is simple. You know your time. You as an entrepreneur, your time is the most valuable resource we have. Please don't waste the time to sell a deal that's unfundable day one. Take the time to learn what's fundable by a bank and what's not. At what point is this thing of mine at a point where I think it's bankable? If I put it in front of a bank manager, he goes, man, I can see something.
We must all understand is that when we want to communicate with certain individuals, we must learn a certain language. The language of business is finance. That is the language. There is no other language. If you do not speak finance, you will not get funded. Now, I don't have to master that language, but I need to know enough about that language so that when I do hire the master of that language, I know he's not stealing from me, one, and two, I know that when I look at the books, that I can actually understand what's being written. So that would be my encouragement. I know it's an investment, and it may seem difficult, but it is a necessity. If you do not understand that language, the language of finance, you're kidding yourself. You are a trader, you are not a business person.
So I'm an entrepreneur, came through to the Gauteng Provincial Government's Funding Fair, sponsored by Deloitte.
We had on the panel Kevin Mkhari, the CEO of MSG Africa, and really what he did is broke down the story, particularly around funding of the group, in particular Power FM experience, and share some of his own insights with the audience and the young people that were here. In fact, young and old in this crowd, were able to get some nuggets around funding and what they should be keeping in mind when they go to a bank or a DFI and what are the important things. So it went very, very well. We hope you enjoyed the video and all of the pictures that we took at the event.